Hey everyone, it's Rebecca here. Thank you so much for joining me for another Sims 4 speed build. In today's video, I am building by the sea. We are in Windenburg. We are on the island on that map, and this is one of my favorite parts of any world. I just think it's especially beautiful, and I love the foliage that is on this island, and the views are so lovely from every single lot. So I just wanted to build something small and cozy here. I wasn't sure in the beginning if I wanted to do a vacation rental or a home. This does end up being just a normal residential lot, but it could very easily be converted to a vacation rental as well. And at first I was going for like a light timber and light concrete, kind of Japandi style. You can see that on the screen here. That's kind of the color scheme that I originally had in mind, but this does get quite a bit darker and a lot dimmer in just a little bit. I just couldn't make the colors work the way that I wanted them to, and I maybe was wanting to do something a little bit different from my last build, which was very light and very bright. So this one is going to be a lot dimmer. I wanted the emphasis to be on the views of the ocean. And so the home is oriented in a way where the biggest doors and windows are facing the ocean side. And there's very few windows on the sides and on the back of the house, and most of them are a lot smaller. So I wanted it to be dark at this point, so I am just darkening up the windows and the ceiling, and eventually we also darken up the floors. I go for just pure concrete floors. And that way, when you've got these huge windows and doors and you have dark floors, walls, and a ceiling, it really emphasizes the view out the window, and it almost becomes like a picture frame where you focus the most on the view. So I was going for that once I darkened up the color scheme. I originally did have wood floors here, but like I said, I went just for full concrete. The floors were actually a little bit too bright for me, and the black wood just wasn't looking the way that I wanted to. I'm also placing down some trees from Live Edit. These are just some of the trees that we see on the map. So I'm pulling those out to incorporate the build into the surroundings. I am, of course, using the shelves from the Sleek bathroom kit. If I'm building a modern home, I have to use those shelves, so you'll be seeing those all around the place. And right now I'm placing down a door from Eco Lifestyle, and I hardly ever use this door, but it is kind of the perfect door for this home. I like that it is fully private and doesn't have any glass on it. When you walk up the front steps and towards the door, you can't see inside the home at all, which I really like. And then we do have little bits of brightness in the home. I did go for the base game counter recolors with the dark timber and the white countertop. And so I decided to use a white backsplash in there. And then we'll also be using that same counter and wallpaper for the bathrooms. Right now I am placing down dividers from the Businesses and Hobbies pack, and I sized those down pretty significantly because they were just a bit too chunky, and I wanted the slats to be a little bit more delicate. So I think I sized those down by at least half. And right now I'm placing a door in an archway. And actually, while I was playtesting this home, I completely forgot to try to make my sim walk through that. I do think that should still be functional. I think they just walk through the other side of the archway, but that might not be the case. So before I upload this home to the gallery and before I make the tray files available, I'll make sure to test that. And if it doesn't work, I'll just remove that door. But it looks cool. And I just wanted to emulate a pocket door. It'd be really cool if we got something like that in the game. I am also using the trick that we all learned from the Sims 4 base game refresh when they redid the land grabs mansion, and they used the archways to simulate sliding doors out to the outside. So that's what I'm doing as well. I have not stopped using that trick. I think it works really well. Of course, with seasons, if you're in a world, and Windenburg is one of those worlds where it gets cold and rainy and it snows, it might not be the best fit, and there's not a lot of doors that would fit perfectly in a 3-tile wide archway. So that is one of the drawbacks. I think it would be really cool if we did manage to get more sliding doors that weren't as bulky and chunky as the bifold doors that we got when Desert Luxe was released, so I'm hoping that'll be the case. Anyway, here on screen, I'm adding some skylights to the kitchen. So the kitchen is definitely the brightest place in the entire home. I wasn't originally going to add this feature, but it was just missing a little something extra and architectural in this home. And I also wanted to shake up the roof line a little bit because it was looking kind of boring. So I've added skylights here. And right now I'm adding down flooring around the roof line because I want to make sure that I can put in a trim around the opening where the skylight is. If you don't put a trim around your skylight, if you're in first person mode, it can look really choppy and glitchy. So I wanted to make sure that I could add a trim around there. As for the outside of the house, I originally had a dark timber around it. But then I do change it to the same dark concrete that we have on the inside. And I just changed that because I added the trim and I wanted to match the trim, but then I get rid of the trim below the roof line. So you could definitely change that back to the dark timber. I think that suits the world really well. And I also just adjusted the roof line above the covered walkway, again, just to make the roof look a little bit more interesting. I think in the real world, it doesn't really matter if the roof looks interesting or not, but I feel like in The Sims, there is a little bit of extra pressure to make it look different. I think if I do another home that will be more Japandi style, I think I'll go for a simpler roof line. And I definitely do still want to do that. So maybe my next build will be a little bit lighter. I also said in my last video that I wanted to do like a concrete and neon style build, so that's also on my mind. So I'm thinking about what that could look like as well. And here on screen, we are doing a little bit of the outside. I decided to add a lower deck area, and originally I do put down wood, but I changed that in just a little bit to stone because I thought that was also a little bit more realistic considering the elements that you would encounter living right next to the sea. And yeah, I think it makes a lot more sense. It also, I think, ties it into the environment a little bit better. And I really liked having that cute little walkway from the front door to the back area. I also do get rid of the fence. Right now I have the fence from Eco Lifestyle around the decking area. But I do get rid of that because it was just blocking the view a little bit too much. And I'm also adding some grass underneath the tree and the hedges just to make those look a little bit more full. I really like doing that. I don't know, lately for some reason when I look at hedges on the ground in The Sims 4, it has nothing to do with reality and how hedges actually work. It just has to do with how it looks in The Sims. But that gap really starts to bother me. And I just have this desire to fill in the gap and make it look like it's fully connected to the ground, which I know that's not how hedges work, but that's just how I want it to look. So that's why I keep doing that. And then the outdoor area is very simple. We do have some outdoor seating next to a fireplace. And then we also have an outdoor dining area. I do move the umbrella from the center of the table. I have heard from other people that the tables won't work if you've got an umbrella going through the center. So I just move it near the end of the build, but definitely looks cool while it's in the middle. And I really wish that that was functional. I really wish that you could do that with an umbrella or a parasol, because it's just such a classic, thing to have in a patio area. And here we've got the primary bathroom coming together. As you can see, it was originally black, but as soon as I put down the counters, I decided that I just wanted to make this a fully white bathroom. And in the screenshots, you'll see that the ceiling hasn't been painted white yet, but I do change that. So the download on the gallery and in the tray files will have a white ceiling. I just completely forgot to paint it. And I didn't notice it while I was taking the screenshots. But yeah, this is a bathroom that, as you can see, it fits 2 people. I did kind of imagine that the person who lives here spends most of their time alone, though you could definitely have in the office 2 people working there, and maybe this person just has like a partner come visit, like once a month or something like that, or maybe this is a place that they like to go to themselves on their own without their family. I'm not really sure. Yeah, as you can see here, I've added the sleek bathroom shelves to the end of the kitchen peninsula to create a waterfall effect, which I also did in my modern brick house video last week, and I really like doing that. And I am going to continue doing that. I feel like, especially watching back my own videos, but of course even just looking at my own builds, it's really interesting and funny to see kind of the building tropes that I fall into and the techniques that I really like using. And that's definitely one that I'm obsessed with right now. I just love those shelves so much. Here I'm adding some seating from Snowy Escape. And at this point, I'm also changing out some of the outdoor furniture for the Snowy Escape furniture. I really like that those chairs came with a version with a blanket and a version without it. In Businesses and Hobbies, we got the same thing with one of the sofas, which I really appreciate. It's nice when they know that you're going to be doubling up your furniture, and it gives it a little bit of variety, which I really appreciate. And here we've got the office. So again, this could be turned into an additional bedroom if you wanted to, but right now I have it set up as an artist studio. So you could technically have 2 Sims working in here, one person on the easel and another person on the computer, but I did imagine that everything in here was just for one Sim. And yeah, we are using bits and pieces from the artist studio kit, and the shelves behind the desk area are from the restoration kit. They have some really cool industrial shelves in that kit, and I thought it would fit pretty nicely in this home. It is a bit different from the rest of the style of the home, those industrial shelves, but I do like that they kind of, insinuate that that is a work area and not a place to relax necessarily. But yeah, so I imagine that the person who lives here is an artist, maybe they're a designer or an architect or something like that. I feel like a lot of my Sims homes end up being like that, and that is definitely my, I guess, projecting or like my own fantasy. I'd really love to have a home with an artist studio, and I've had so many interests over the years. Of course, obviously, as you can probably tell, architecture and interior design are one of those interests. So I really like playing with Sims who have that career or have those interests. I did really enjoy playing the Dream Home Decorator pack, even though it is super buggy and super glitchy. It's still really fun gameplay. You just sometimes have to cheat your way to the financial or the goals that you have in each of the tasks, but I still really like the idea. But yeah, it's more or less coming together pretty well here. Again, just like a lot of dark colors and really minimalist interior design as well. The lights that are on the walls are from Spa Day, and they create a really beautiful light on the walls that are especially apparent on dark walls. So you'll see those around the house. Refined living room is also a kit that I used a lot. Those are the sofas, for example, and the artwork that you see right now. Really, really love that kit as well. That is another essential go-to kit for me these days. And I am using Toolmod to rotate a lot of these paintings and have them sit against the shelves from Sleek Bathroom. There's very few art pieces that are properly on the wall in this home. There's a lot of leaning paintings here, and I'm using, a lot of designs and tricks that I used in my modern brick house last week as well. So yeah, using some boxes here from Get to Work. These are unlocked, I think, from the detective career, but they're really nice boxes and they're perfect for an office like that. They also come in really nice colors. I have to say, I really like the color scheme for the items in that pack. There's these like orange colors and teal colors and beige colors that work really well together. And right now on the screen, you will see me start pulling out some items from Journey to Batu. You will not need this pack in order to place this home, but there's a couple of decorative items that I used from the pack. They have some really nice sculptures and also some nice plants. So some of those will be from that pack, but you can definitely still place this home without it. I also really like a lot of the plants that we got from Life and Death. Those also work really well in modern homes, mostly because the color scheme is this really muted, earthy color scheme. So I used a couple plants from Life and Death around the home as well. And in this entryway, I added a little bit of extra light as well as in the office, because even though this is a dim home, there's probably a couple of places where you would want there to be a little bit of extra light, especially at night. So we lighten up the office a little bit as well as the entryway. And the entryway might be like one of my favorite parts of this home. You'll see it in the screenshots, but I think it's just, I don't know, really realistic and it looks really cool. So I'm definitely a fan of that area. I'm also adding some soap dispensers, and those are from the bathroom clutter kit, as well as the light switches that you see just now that I put in the kitchen. So there's a couple of items from that pack as well. That's another kit that I think is just absolutely essential. It's got some really nice items in it that work in both traditional and in modern homes. So I'm a really big fan of those. But we're nearing the end of the video now, so I'm gonna go ahead and wrap it up. I'd love to hear what you think about this home. If you would live in a home like this, by the ocean, away from everyone, or if you'd rather be further away or closer to a city. Yeah, let me know what you think. Thank you so much for watching. And thank you for everyone who has been liking and subscribing and commenting. I really appreciate you all so much. And I can't wait to talk to you all in the next video. Bye-bye.